a billionaire's family invested into this company of AEW. They had their TV time on a major network. And they said, crap, we might have something going on here that we need to take care of on our end. So they signed a bunch of people. So I think, in their own eyes, I think that's where McMahon's thinking, oh, this is not going to be that big of a threat. And they're not going to be that, as far as they're not going to put McMahon out of business. It ain't going to happen. So I think when they looked at it, like, okay, we see where they're at. We see where they're going. I love AEW just as much as the next person does. Believe me, by thinking in those terms, I think they felt like, okay, well, here's where we're at. We don't have much to worry about. We don't have as much as we thought we had to worry about, and in their own eyes. But I look at it as an alternative, honestly. What that AEW is. What's saying what WWE, but they don't need to keep all their talent. It's like, oh, we had to sign to 5-year deals, and I guess what I don't know how true it is. I really don't know how true it is, but I guess apparently they signed the Good Brothers to $750,000 contracts. I don't know how true that number is. I don't know. But WWE signed a Good Brother. Well, before they turned it to the Good Brothers. Well, there was WWE. I guess they re-signed the contract for a lot more money. Mm-hmm. I don't think they're quite worth on that top dollar, honestly. But I think they're very talented. But I think that's my opinion. I think they're worth a lot. But if it's just a guaranteed money, it'd be harder to. But I think honestly, if you really look at it, I'm glad that they got released. It made for better for the careers. Now they can do something somewhere else and have more creativity, do something better for themselves. So,
well, I was going to say, because you said not worth that much. It's hard. You can make an argument because they're talking shop Mania that they put on, and the fact that they're working with both Impact and AEW. I think it shows the value that they have in them, and I can see WWE wanting to secure that.
Absolutely, but the thing is, were they allowed? You have to go. Were they allowed to do that in WWE? And how well could they? Sometimes just because you're in one company, but here they are now in Impact and wrestling also for AEW. It also depends on also your environment. Are you in that right environment to do all that?
I get that, and honestly, like, if WWE, it's not going to happen because Vince McMahon's in charge and he's what he says goes. But if WWE wanted to take advantage of someone like Anderson and Gallows and let them run a random show, random wrestling event where they're afforded the opportunity to do creative booking, I think it would be good. But I know WWE would never go for that, kind of like what they did with the Talking Shop in Mania. To go back to a previous point you made, however, where Vince McMahon was a little concerned and now he's not concerned. Yeah, that's why Jericho's on there, and it's not going to happen ever again. Apparently, he saw what AEW did on the Wednesday after Mania, and he is royally concerned now.
What did they do after Wednesday after Mania?
1.3 million viewers.
Oh, I'm not. I still think he's overly. So,
now
huh?
Now he's in a bad mood about it.
1 point. Oh, for
because they had a rating spike.
That ain't gonna do anything really to his company. He's getting too.
No, but their feeling was it's like, okay, that's way too close to what Raw does, so they're now probably are gonna be more. Like, we're not going to let... Like Jericho being on Austin and Austin being on Jericho's, I don't think that's going to happen again for a while.
Well, I think the main reason why he allowed... McMahon allows... Like, I didn't think to him, it's like, what's the big deal? It's like, okay, whatever, it's... am I in McMahon's head? No, I'm not, obviously. I never recall this phone number, but it's just more... There's certain things that they're doing I understand. I really do, on a business standpoint, but it's more or less... but... How often does McMahon get mad at the ratings? A lot, especially when he has to go face to face, head to head with the NFL. It's always a scramble because he loses the ratings. That's just all there is to it. And it's like they pull out everything they can, but it's still competing to those ratings. But as far as sitting there saying, "Oh my God," now they're going to jump up the ratings, I'm like, I just, I get more or less some points, but a lot of it, I just, I don't think it's as a threat. I think it's why he didn't really, that's why I also let go. Hey, Big Show, go make your money. hey, Christian, I don't think Christian would have made that big of an impact in WWE anyways.
No, they didn't think there was much there for
No,
Big Show and
same
Christian.
with the Big Show. Same thing. It's like he's 50 years old, and what else can we really do that we haven't done? What else can we do to really that's not going to be as well? Okay, he's going to put over a different talent. That's not going to make us as much money as you think. So we're going to wake the sleeping giant. That's been done a million times. So it's like, okay, I need to put over my other talent. So,
well, and to go back to a point too, I just double checked the ratings. So, give you an idea how well that was for AEW. The Raw after WrestleMania only did 2 million.
And yeah, that's the point that I was wanting to get to. Whose fault is that?
WWE.
That is exactly, because here's the thing about some of y'all listening might agree, might disagree, whatever y'all feel. Those shows were the craps. Raw and SmackDown. That's all there was to it. That was not a post WrestleMania Raw and SmackDown by far. And if y'all disagree, y'all go ahead. But if y'all are lying to yourselves, you think that was a post WrestleMania show. Biggest point is that we've seen it's the most anticipated Raw and SmackDown of the year. What was so great about those shows? What was so memorable? What was so glamorous that made us, oh my God, I got to tune in. You know what's going to happen. Something big, something great. That only they had was what? They had a return of the Viking Raiders. Nothing against them. They're a great tag team. But that's not,
And this is kind of on WWE too. They have always built up that there will be a big return the Raw after Mania. There's always a big return. There's always a big return. There's always a big return. And that didn't happen before even turning on the show because, again, like with anything else, I record it. I kind of was like, there's not going to be a big return. Who are they going to have return? Everyone's going everywhere else. They have no one to return.
No.
Besides, I read earlier that I guess Davey Boy Smith Jr. is in conversations to return to WWE. That's about it. Even then, who knows if that's going to happen? But then you have this weird ass storyline where you have the two big members from Retribution, chokeslam Drew McIntyre. Okay.
Yeah.
That's not interesting, really.
No.
You had Cesaro not being taken seriously against Roman and then getting attacked by Seth, which is okay.
Yeah.
It's one of the things that WWE does that's really, really annoying, especially it seems to mainly be with Seth. The storylines don't die when he gets beat. And I'm not saying that every time that should be the case, but Cesaro, what it looked like is Seth was an obstacle for Cesaro to get over to move him up to the next level. Why are they entering into another storyline together again? Maybe it is to delay a little bit to get to Roman, but it wasn't that interesting. And now, I'm sorry, I just thought of something else. When did Backlash become WrestleMania Backlash? When did the pay-per-view get that? Why? Like, are they just like, man, we're not doing too well on pay-per-views. We might as well call this WrestleMania Backlash. This is going to be called WrestleMania Fastlane. This is going to be called WrestleMania Royal Rumble. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, that's a new
WrestleMania SummerSlam.
There was something that I don't like the name really, but there's one little part I can understand. Is usually what happens at Backlash. It's always it's like almost like a rerun of WrestleMania. Almost. It's like there's a lot of things that they have to counterpart with WrestleMania. And they said, well, let's do this at Backlash. That's what the old school way was when they had Backlash after WrestleMania every year. So
that part makes sense. Keeping the name Backlash makes sense because Backlash instinctually, based on the name, is like, okay, there's gonna be retribution to pay. No pun intended. Retribution to pay for what happened at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I said I don't want the name, but I had seen a lot of comments off Twitter, or whatever it was, and I'm like, well, might as well call it that since that's what they do, anyways. I'm like, well, I don't really just like say something else. It's just. And then you keep that WrestleMania name around, but I guess they feel like, we should keep it around. I'm like, well, if you don't build your storyline well enough, you might as well not call it that. Of course, you already put yourself in the wrong foot when you book crap shows for Raw SmackDown. I'm like, your show's not bad every single week. It's not. It's really I get entertained by a lot of things, but however, their two biggest shows of the entire year, weekly televised shows of the entire year, you do nothing. Nothing. And then you have what I understand is that you have Randy Orton come out there to get a triple threat match to get a title match. Doesn't win, but of course, all we need Randy Orton to have the win over the Fiend at WrestleMania, to have him come over strong on a triple threat match to lose. I'm like, what was so important having Randy Orton? I guess apparently he's supposed to have time off. Have his at Mania, whatever you want to do. I didn't understand the big point of him winning at Mania, really.
And if he wants time off, he should have been beaten by the Fiend to rehash it months later after he gets time off.
In Raw, he did nothing. It was like, well, I'm going to be in a triple threat match, and then they have him lose, which is what, fine. You have him lose. It's whatever, who wants the heel versus heel necessarily. But more importantly, he had him there was nothing there. I was like, it was a waste. It was just like everything that happened. I'm like, what was the point? And then, of course, he had a rematch with, I think, the women's tag team title rematch. I think, or it was a women's title match they had. Is like, I don't know, I just didn't buy into it.
One of the main things I liked from Raw is the reintroduction of the Firefly Funhouse and the insinuations there from Bray Wyatt, but that's about it. If Randy Orton needs time off and they want to give that to him, there should be another build towards a Bray Wyatt versus Randy again, and let Bray as the Fiend destroy Orton so he gets time off. Yes, he did. If he did lose at WrestleMania, you can make the argument here that if Alexa doesn't get involved, Bray and the Fiend will go over strong on Randy Orton. Which again, okay, one of the back to WrestleMania. Since when did so the Fiend survives weapons, 6 curb stomps, and damn near was set on fire, but one RKO takes him down.
Yeah, they oversold it, the most dangerous move in all wrestling. I understand it's a great move, but I'm like just like you said, it's just you have him go through all this crazy weapons and spots. I'm like you said, one RKO and that's it. And it's like, dude, this is a guy supposed to be a demon. He's supposed to be withstanding everything, and all of a sudden, this one thing, like really, like that much.
Mm-hmm.
It made no sense, and that match was just not that very good anyways. I mean, it was the time. They didn't get to tell their full story, and it's like the match wasn't really nothing to write home about. It was the moment, that ending moment, and with Alexa, it just that's a case of its own. But I just like the next night, Norton really doesn't have. Oh yeah, like he comes out, cuts that promo. Was like, they're done, they're over with, they're gone. I'm like, dude, they're not gone. They just advertised that Fiend was going to be, or Bray Wyatt was going to be in the Firefly Funhouse, and they're not gone. I'm like, I don't know why they have. Well, they're gone. I'm like, why are they having them book this promo? They're gone. I just, that's what I don't. If he was gone, okay, if he didn't sign a contract to okay, I get that, but he's going to be in the show that night. He's coming back, so you can say I eliminate the problem, whatever. But it's just, and you come out and nothing happens. You do nothing. Mm-hmm. It's like, what was the point of booking that? Of him going over and him coming out and doing nothing that night, and it's like nobody really did anything. The only thing I can also kind of understand when they had Bobby Lashley not come out later in the evening is like, okay, keeping your champion special. I get that. But and they had him, the starting match and everything. I just didn't get a good vibe from the kickoff really of the show. I really did not. And just like, I hope this show's at least one of their better ones. But it just like, it's not. Like I said once again, it's not even about being a better show. Oh, we need a better week. I'm like, this is your biggest Raw of the entire year, biggest SmackDown the entire year, and just, you can't call it that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just disappointed. It's like, I just, you put your best foot forward. They don't take seasons, but there is no season in wrestling or WWE. But when you start off the night after WrestleMania, that's kind of like your kickoff to New Year, really.
Yeah, it was not a great show.
No,
Dynamite was definitely really much better.
Oh, yeah.
Generally speaking, they actually explain now how Jericho and Tyson are why they're on the same side. which I mean that whole match was pretty entertaining.